What would you say if a cop kept talking until you gave away your own rights in less than 30 seconds? Because that happens every single day, and most drivers don't even notice it. The scary part is, you can be polite, honest, and still talk yourself into handcuffs. Hit subscribe right now, because what you're about to hear could save you from making the worst mistake of your life during a stop. And like this video now, so you can find it fast when your brain freezes in the real moment. Here's the reality. You don't lose your rights because you're guilty. You lose them because you feel nervous, rushed, and weirdly pressured to sound helpful. That's what makes these tricks so dangerous. They don't always look aggressive. They look casual. They sound friendly. Sometimes they even sound like the officer is helping you out. But in the next few minutes, you're going to learn the 6 fast mind games officers use to get you talking, consenting, and staying longer than you should. You're going to hear the exact words that shut those tricks down. You're going to learn which Supreme Court cases back you up. And you're going to see how one calm sentence can stop a simple stop from turning into a fishing trip. Through your car, your phone, and your whole day. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos. The pattern is always the same. The driver talks too much, agrees too fast, and gives the officer a shortcut. Now let's talk about why this hits you so hard when it's your turn. Your heart is racing. Your hands feel awkward. You want the stop over fast, so you start trying to be extra nice. You answer things nobody asked you to answer. You explain where you're going, where you came from, why you look tired, why your friend left something in the back seat, and why there's a bag in the trunk. Most people have no idea that every extra word can build suspicion, even if you did nothing wrong. That's why you need a simple plan before you ever need it. Not a speech, not an argument. Just a few clean lines you can say under stress. Your job is not to win a debate on the roadside. Your job is to protect your rights, stay calm, comply with lawful orders, and stop volunteering information that can be used against you later. The first trick is the friendly question trap. This is when the officer sounds casual and says something like, "So where are you headed?" Or "What's in the car today?" Or "You don't mind telling me what's going on, right?" It feels harmless, but it's not harmless. The whole point is to get you relaxed enough to start filling in blanks they did not earn yet. Let me show you exactly what you say. "Officer, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and I want a lawyer if you're questioning me." Word for word. Keep it calm, keep it short, then stop talking. This matters because of a Supreme Court case called Burghouse versus Tompkins. In plain English, the court said, staying quiet is not enough by itself. You need to clearly say you're using your right. Miranda v. Arizona also matters here. In plain English, once police are questioning you while you are in custody, your words can be used against you, unless your rights are protected. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court. If you only mumble, shrug, or try to be silent, you leave room for trouble. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I'm just going home, but it's no big deal." Then their story gets picked apart and used to build more questions. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I am invoking my right to remain silent, and I want a lawyer if you are questioning me." Then the guessing game stops. Watch what happens when you use the short version. The officer either moves the stop forward, or they have to make a real legal choice. They can't keep mining your mouth for free clues as easily. Without that line, you may hand them reasons to call for backup, ask for consent, or dig into your timeline. With that line, you stop helping build the case against yourself. Have you ever heard one of those just making conversation questions during a stop? Drop a comment below because I want to know which one caught you off guard. The second trick is the fake easy out. This is when the officer says, "If you've got nothing to hide, let me take a quick look," or "It'll only take a second." Or you can help yourself by cooperating. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. Consent is gold to them because consent can erase a huge fight later. If you say yes, they do not need to prove nearly as much. So you need one clean line ready. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Word for word. Memorize that line. This is 100% legal. You're not being rude by saying it. You're not resisting by saying it. You're simply refusing to give up your protection. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. In Schneckloth versus Bustamante, the court said searches can be valid when people voluntarily consent. In plain English, if you say yes, you may have just handed over your shield. In Bumper v. North Carolina, the court said consent is not real consent when police use false pressure like pretending they already have lawful authority. In plain English, pressure matters. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Sure, go ahead, I've got nothing to hide." Then a quick peek turns into a full search of your car. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Then you keep your rights on the table. And if they search anyway, you do not argue and you do not touch the officer. You just say, "I do not consent," and stay still. That matters because your lawyer can fight the search later, but you cannot win a wrestling match on the roadside. Former police officers have confirmed this works because clear refusal changes how the whole stop is documented. Watch what happens when you stay calm and repeat the same line. The officer loses the easy shortcut. That alone can change everything. The third trick is the delay trick. This is when the stop should be ending, but the officer keeps stretching it. They hand back your papers, then hit you with one more question. They say, hang on a second, or mind if I ask you something else? Or just wait here while I check one more thing. Your brain thinks the stop is still automatic, so you stay and keep talking. Listen closely because this is critical. You need to find out if you are still legally being held. You look at the officer and say this, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Those exact words. That line matters because of Rodriguez versus United States. In plain English, the court said police cannot drag out a traffic stop longer than needed just to go fishing for other crimes, unless they have real legal reason to do it. That doesn't mean the officer must let you go every time. It means they need more than curiosity. If they say you are free to leave, leave calmly. If they say you're detained, stop talking and go right back to your first line. Bad way. Most drivers say, yeah, sure, whatever you need. Then the stop keeps growing and new questions start piling up. Good way. Smart drivers say, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Then the officer has to show their legal position. This line is powerful because it forces the moment into focus. No more blurry chat. No more half stop, half interview confusion. Your rights get strongest when the stop is clear. If you've made it this far, you're serious about protecting your rights. Show me by hitting that like button because the next 3 tricks are the ones most drivers never see coming. The 4th trick is isolation. And the officer gets you away from your car, away from your passengers, and away from your comfort zone. They say, step out and talk to me back here, and suddenly you feel like you need to fill the silence. Now be careful. An officer can often lawfully order you out of the car. A Supreme Court case called Pennsylvania versus Mims said that in plain English, so you should comply. But stepping out does not mean you have to start chatting. The exact line is this, I will comply, but I am not answering questions without a lawyer. Simple, calm, clear, bad way. Most drivers say, okay, what do you want to know? Then the roadside turns into an interview room with no walls. Good way. Smart drivers say, I will comply, but I'm not answering questions without a lawyer. Then they obey the order without giving up their mouth. This works because the officer often wants separation for 2 reasons. Safety is one, conversation is the other. Once you are away from your car, they watch your body language, your breathing, your eye movement, and whether you start explaining things. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when the stop starts feeling personal. You can comply with the movement and still protect your words. That combo matters. The 5th trick is silence pressure. The officer asks a question and then just stares, or they repeat it a little softer, or they act like your silence makes you look guilty. Your brain hates awkward silence, so you rush to fill it. That is exactly the trap. Berkmer v. McCarty matters here. In plain English, the court said roadside statements during a traffic stop can still matter a lot, even before the stop turns into full custody. So don't treat roadside talk like it's harmless small talk. Here's exactly what you say. I'm not discussing my day. Here are my license, registration, and insurance, word for word. Then hand over what you legally need to hand over and stop there. That line keeps you from turning a simple document exchange into story time. You do not need to explain why you look nervous. You do not need to explain where your cousin borrowed the car last week. You do not need to explain why you hesitated for 1 second before pulling over. Your documents are required. Your life story is not. This is where people destroy themselves by trying to sound normal. They laugh too much. They over-explain. They ramble. Then the officer hears a detail, spots a mismatch, or claims your nervousness looked suspicious. You are not there to perform innocence. You are there to protect your rights while staying respectful. That's it. The 6th trick is the hopelessness bluff. This is when the officer says something like, if you don't let me search, I'll just get a dog, or we can do this the easy way or the hard way, or your refusal makes you look guilty. The goal is to make you feel like resistance is pointless, so you might as well give up now. Don't fall for that. This is 100% legal for you to refuse consent and stay calm. Here's exactly what you say. I do not consent, and I would like to leave if I am free to go. Short, clean, repeatable. Ohio v. Robinette matters here in a weird way. In plain English, police do not always have to tell you that you're free to go before asking for consent. That is why you ask the question yourself. Rodriguez matters again too. In plain English, they cannot just stretch the stop forever without real cause. So your line does 2 jobs at once. It refuses consent, and it checks whether the stop is still legally active. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when the officer is trying to make your refusal feel useless. If they have lawful grounds, they will do what they will do. If they don't, your calm refusal helps protect you later. Never argue. Never touch. Never physically resist. Just keep your line and your composure. Here's the reality. All 6 tricks work for one reason. They attack your feelings before they attack your rights. They use pressure, silence, fake friendliness, time, and confusion. But the law gives you tools if you actually use them out loud. Miranda v. Arizona means your words matter. Burghuis v. Tompkins means you need to clearly say you are invoking your rights. Schneckloth versus Bustamante means consent can make a search much easier for police if you hand it over. Rodriguez v. United States means a traffic stop cannot be stretched just because the officer wants to keep looking. This comes from rulings. In 7th grade English, your rights do not protect you if you never use them. Your calm words activate them. Now let me show you exactly how this plays out in the real world. You get pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer walks up and says, "Where are you coming from tonight?" The wrong move is you smile and say, "Just left my friend's house. We had a couple beers, but I'm fine." Now the officer hears drinking, watches your face, and the whole stop changes. Then the officer says, "You don't mind if I look in the car, right?" You say, "Sure, I've got nothing to hide." Now your protection is gone. Then the officer hands back your license and says, "Hang tight." You wait without asking why. The stop keeps stretching. Then they say, "Step out and talk to me." You step out and start explaining everything. That is how regular people talk themselves into a very bad night. Now the right way. You get stopped. You hand over your documents. The officer asks where you're coming from. You say, "I'm not discussing my day. Here are my license, registration, and insurance." If the questions keep coming, you use your silent right line. "Officer, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and I want a lawyer if you are questioning me." If they ask to search, you say, "Officer, I do not consent." If the stop drags on, you ask, "Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" If they tell you to step out, you comply and state your lawyer line. If they try the pressure bluff, you repeat, "I do not consent, and I would like to leave if I am free to go." That driver does not win by being loud. That driver wins by being calm, clear, and boring. That is what keeps your rights alive. Next week, I'm revealing what to say when cops claim they smell weed. Subscribe right now so you don't miss it, because that one line gets people searched every single day. So lock these in your mind right now. First, stop answering casual questions like, "They are harmless." Your words can open doors you never meant to open. Second, never give consent just because the request sounds polite or quick. Third, always find out whether you are being detained. Fourth, comply with lawful orders, but do not turn compliance into conversation. Fifth, never let pressure or silence trick you. You have more power in that moment than you think, but only if you use it. Hit subscribe so you catch that weed smell video next week. Smash the like button if this script just changed how you'd handle your next stop. Drop a comment telling me which line you'll memorize. Stay calm, stay smart, and stay safe out there.